confidence to communicate, how to confidently communicate with strangers so they choose you for their real estate needs and desires. We're going to talk about the importance of implementation throughout this book. But first and foremost, we have to address the concept, the fundamentals, and the mindset. During this talk, I'm going to be talking about the importance of real, relevant strategies, stuff that work now. I'm going to hold nothing back. There's going to be no fluff. I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be no fairy tales. We're going to talk about what's working right now as late as September 21st, 2025. So this is for people that are ready to stop talking, that are ready to stop thinking up in their mind. They're going to do it. This is for people who are ready to actually start doing. Implementation is highly important and backed by action in doing things. This is for people who want to stop being broke, who want to stop struggling, who want consistent income. They want more deals. They want more leads. This is for those people. If you're not in that space, if you're inspirational and you're like, hey, I'm in this for fun, I'm not ready, you're not suffering, you don't feel any kind of pain, this presentation is not going to be for you. This is for people who want the real, raw truth and that want to succeed. So this is for winners, not people who are complacent, not people who are not willing to take action. This is for winners, doers, not thinkers, winners and doers. So I'm going to address a few key myths that I've discovered along the industry. These are myths that are going to keep you broke, so we need to eliminate them. Myth number 1, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. Myth number 2, people make decisions on just emotion. And myth number 3, calling for sell by owners and expired listings are cold calling. Let's start with number 1. People do business with who they know, like, and trust. This is not all the way true. Okay. Many people tell you that people do business with who they know, like, and trust because they want to sell you some kind of dream. We have to break this down into further points. So the point of saying people do business with who they know, like, and trust is you need to be known. People think you need to be liked, but you definitely need to be trusted. Okay. So part number 1, people won't do business with you if they don't know you, right? And I wrote an entire book on marketing, right? Marketing is a way for people to know you, to be aware of who you are, to be aware of your services that you provide. That's the know part. So that part can be true, right? The full context is you need to be known in order for people to do business with you. So you can't be a stranger. Now, the second part is people do business with who they like. This is not all the way true, especially when it comes to what we're going to talk about here today. People want their results, and they appreciate their results more than they appreciate liking a person. Okay? So there are plenty and several people that don't like people, but they trust them, as an example. So people don't have to like you to do business with you. And that's how we dispel that myth. The final part is trust. So I like to refer to myself when I talk about this. There are people that do like me, and there are people that don't like me. However, there are many, 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 many more people that trust me because of the style I am. I'm no nonsense. I eliminate fluff. They trust me. So there are people that want to do business with me, but they don't necessarily like me, but they trust me. And because they don't like me doesn't mean they're going to like the result that I bring them. And that turns into trust. So trust is more important than being liked. I want people to fully understand that because in this industry, in this particular niche of communication, outbound calling, cold calling, whichever you want to call it, people prefer to trust you more so than to like you. They prefer to trust you to get the job done. And that's dispelling the number 1 myth that people do business with who they know, like, and trust. There are a lot of quotes out in the world that sound really great in theory and they sound cute. And people say them because they sound cute and they sound like great theories, but they're not fully true. Now, we're going to talk about the next one, which is myth number 2. People make decisions on emotion. And this is not necessarily true. People don't just make decisions on emotion. They make decisions on many things. And a major key factor, my favorite way to overcome this myth is what's called the Bain pyramid. And I'm going to talk about this Bain pyramid. It's called the elements of value pyramid. Which you're going to see. You're going to see me pull it up here. And what most people get wrong is that they believe that people are choosing emotionally, but you can see here that is not the full picture. So this is a pyramid, and an emotion is the second layer. It's the second layer up on the pyramid. Emotion starts here. So when people initially choose to do something, they're choosing to do something for functional reasoning, functional reasons. That's where they start, right? So a person doesn't choose to sell their house because they're emotional. They choose to sell their house because they have a function. They have a need that they're looking to achieve. Now, emotions come up along the way, but they're not deciding on just emotion. And I want you to keep this in mind because this is important in regards to this niche and this industry. A person is choosing to save their house for, it could be any of these reasons down here. They want to save time. They want to simplify their space. They want to simplify their living area. They want to make money. They want to reduce the risk of the neighborhood. They want to reduce the risk of the interest rates. They want to be more organized. They want to avoid hassle. They want to reduce costs. They're looking for a different quality property. They're looking for variety. Most of these things are not emotional. They're functional. They're functional. And this is where people start typically. What people are getting wrong when they say people make decisions emotionally is they're not considering everything else involved, because we're human and people tend to involve their emotions, but that doesn't mean people are deciding emotionally. They're deciding for several reasons. They're deciding for functionality as well as emotion. They're deciding on how this is going to affect their life, like life change, as you see on the graphic here. And then some people do things for social impact, community impact. So people don't make decisions on just emotion. That's a myth, and it needs to be dispelled. It's a manipulative quote and saying that many people say because they want to manipulate the audience, including you. For a very long time, I used to think there was something wrong with me because I did not decide emotionally. And being in this industry and being discovered and understanding communication, reaching out to colleagues and other people similar to me, I had a major realization that I typically did not make decisions emotionally. So people are not out choosing based on just emotion. Just because emotions are involved doesn't mean people are making decisions based on just emotion. And I want you to keep that in mind. And then that leads us into myth number 3. Many people believe calling expired listings and for sale by owners prospects is cold calling. It's not a cold call. These are people that have raised their hand in some way or another and said they desire to sell their house for some reason, some function. They want to sell their house. So when you think of cold calling, you want to eliminate those two as these, at least, the very least, these two particular categories of calling. I much rather, and it's much more accurate that you call it outbound calling rather than cold calling, because these people are not cold. They have virtually raised their hands and said they are interested in selling their house. So those are 3 myths that I want to quickly eliminate for you. Now, I want to be truthful. Trust is more important than being liked, which we talked about a little bit earlier. We talked about when we dispelled those myths, those 3 myths. And I want to communicate something else, the importance of being straightforward and direct. Being straightforward and being direct, it saves people time and it shows respect. So instead of dancing around, instead of sugarcoating things for people, you cut right to the chase. You save yourself time, you save them time. So we're going to talk about part 1, the confidence to communicate. I've learned through experience that most people lack confidence to communicate. And that's what's holding most people back from being successful within the real estate niche. We're going to talk about the fundamentals that you can master so you become a winner instead of a loser. So you're in the game and not on the sidelines. So you're closing deals and not jumping from company to company or brokerage to brokerage or jumping from niche to niche within real estate. We're going to talk about exactly what you can do so you can be successful. So I want to talk about being straightforward again. Straightforwardness equals it's respectful. Direct communication wins because it saves their time. It quickly and clearly lets people know that you're there to help. And it builds immediate trust. I get feedback often, and many times people say, Jerome, I came to you because I knew you would keep it straight with me. I knew you would be honest, even if it hurt. I know you're going to tell me the truth. This is the kind of feedback you get from people when you're honest, you're direct, you're straightforward. They trust you. They might not like you all of the time, but they definitely will respect and appreciate you for being straightforward with them because it's very clear. So tell people the truth. I have a quote that I love to refer to. I'm going to pull it up here. So here's a quote here. When you want to help yourself, you tell people what they want to hear. And when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. And this is a quote by Thomas Sowell. This is one of my favorite quotes because when you're in it to help people, you tend to tell them the truth. You tend to be honest. You tend to be direct. You don't beat around the bush. You don't sugarcoat. You tell them exactly what they need to hear. And many times, people may not receive it well initially, but they come back around and they say, thank you. They come back and they say, thank you. Okay. Now, something I want to address, sympathy versus empathy. Many people confuse sympathy and empathy. I like to think about sympathy as the best way to say it is on the surface, someone is sad about a situation. They don't appreciate a situation. And you can understand, you can feel those feelings on the surface. Okay. For example, in our industry, the person didn't sell their house. You feel their pain. You don't want to push. You don't want to push. That's sympathy. Okay. And it's a surface level emotion. Now, empathy is truly understanding their situation. And empathy is what wins deals. It's what wins deals. And the best way I like to describe empathy is I like to describe it in 3 phases. The 3 phases of empathy are. Okay, so the 3 phases of empathy are past empathy. This is the empathy that most people feel. This is what most people confuse with sympathy. They confuse sympathy with empathy. So they understand the perspective, they understand the feelings. It's like they understand how, in their minds, how the person may feel. But most people stop here. They understand what the person has been through. They understand what they've been through, but they don't understand fully what they're going through. Because if you fully understand what they was going through, which is the next phase of empathy, present empathy, you could feel them. You could feel what they're feeling. You could feel their frustrations, their experiences. You can feel their emotions. It goes beyond. It goes a little beyond understanding a person's situation. Because if you did understand, you would be motivated to take action. And this is what I call future empathy. It's the doing part. It's the action part behind empathy. You understand a person is going through something. You understand they've been through something. You understand they're going through something. And now it's time to get them through what they're going through. This is the future empathy. And this is where most people lack action. When you truly empathize with a person, you're going to back it up with action, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's uncomfortable for you, you're truly going to take action to help that other person. And this is real empathy. So it's the doing part of empathy. It inspires you to take action. It inspires you to help. And sometimes it's going to require you direct help. Sometimes it's going to require you to bring someone else in. But empathy requires action, not just feeling, not just thinking, and not just understanding. Ultimately, when you truly empathize with a person, you'll take action. You'll speak up. You'll do things to help that person out of the situation when it's within your power. And in many cases, we can. We just choose not to because it's uncomfortable. Next, I'm going to talk about the AAA framework. I learned this framework from one of my mentors. I realized she was doing, her name is Tiffany. I realized something that she was doing when I would witness her teaching. And I helped turn it into a framework. And we've called it the AAA framework. The AAA framework works like this. When you're communicating, when you're prospecting, when you're talking to a person that needs help, you acknowledge and you affirm their situation. That's the first thing. Acknowledge what's going on. Acknowledge that, hey, I know your property is on the market. I know it's been on the market for 180 days. I acknowledge that you feel frustrated. I acknowledge that you believe, because you told me, that you can't get the property sold. That's the first A. The second A, you ask questions that naturally extend the conversation. What's causing you to feel discouraged, Mr. Seller, about your property that was on the market? What makes you believe that you can't sell it until you fix the roof? You are open to still getting the property sold, correct? Those are asking questions, right? And then the last A is assume. Assume the close was the initial. That was the initial agreement. That was the initial concept. But we since changed it. Assume the next question. Assume they want to work with you. Mr. Seller, I understand that you don't want to sell the property. I understand that you believe it's not possible to get it sold. But how did you come to that conclusion? I'm asking a relevant question. They tell me what the answer is. Okay, I understand why you may believe that, but I have some different information, and I can show you exactly how that works. You just tell me a time that will work for you today between 3 and 4. What time works for you? That's the assume. Confidently lead the conversation forward. Many people get stuck there because they say the right stuff, but they don't say it in the right way. How you say things matter as well. And if you say things timidly, people won't trust you. They might like you. As we mentioned earlier, they might like it, but they won't trust you. I like you. I like you. How many times have you heard that? I really like you. You're a nice guy. You're a nice woman. Things like that. You're not in this to be liked. You're in this to be trusted. You're in this to be known. Being liked is a bonus. So, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. It's not the full truth. You do want to be known. You may want to be liked, but you definitely need to be trusted. I know plenty of people that are liked, but people don't trust them. And a great example is, if you're in real estate, you've seen it. I cannot believe they went with another agent and not me. They knew you. They knew that person. They knew that agent. They probably even liked the agent, but they may not have trusted that agent to get the job done. And that's why we dispelled that myth of people do business with who they know, like, and trust a little bit earlier. So the AAA framework: acknowledge their situation, ask them a relevant question, and assume the next step, assume the close. Confidently assume. So that's the AAA framework. Now, what I want to talk about is the 3D mentality. In order for you to be successful in this business, you need a 3D mentality. That means this is what it takes for you to be successful. 3D. Many people get in the industry and they feel a certain way, and our feelings can only take us so far. Feelings are wishy-washy. They are not a foundation to build on. They will eventually go away. You've been there. And this 3D mentality, this 3D framework, this is exactly what you need to be successful in this business. It's what's going to help you push past feelings of, I don't want to do it, feelings of incompetence, feelings of doubt, feelings of exhaustion, feelings of burnout. This is what helps you push past. So dedication is the first D. You want to have the dedication to be in business. You want to have the dedication to serve. You want to be dedicated. No matter what happens, I'm dedicated and I'm here to stay. Number 2, you want to be disciplined. So incorporating discipline is what stops your feelings from getting in the way. For example, sometimes I do not feel like prospecting from 8 to 11 a.m. each day. But I've developed habits where it's a discipline now and it's not a feeling. You go through the motions, you do your job, and you get success because of it. So discipline, you want to have the daily discipline needed to push forward. And then determination, refusing to quit when it gets tough. Refusing to quit when it gets tough. Because it's going to get tough. Many people want to sell you a dream. They want to sell you the sunshine and rainbows, and they want to put sugar and sweetness all over the truth. So you want to be determined not to quit, because I guarantee you it's going to get tough. No matter what you do in life, there's going to be some tough times. And you're going to have to push through it, or you will not get to the next level. On the other side of that push is success, but you got to keep pushing and you can't stop. A lot of people are going to sell you dreams, such as people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And it sounds great. It's an amazing concept, but it's not the full truth. Now we want to talk about competence to communicate. So there are 4 stages of competence. 4 stages. And the first stage is unconscious incompetence. We have a group inside our community, And many people come through the group and they're normally starting at level 4, which is unconscious incompetence. People have been lying to them for so long and telling them they're amazing and they're doing great that they get a shell shock when they enter our group and they enter our platforms. This is unconscious incompetence. You think you've been doing amazing, you're not even aware. And someone's going to tell you really soon, and it's going to be shocking. It's going to be shocking. Many people come through to our group at ECC, and they're shocked because we tell them honestly what's going on. So that's the first stage. The second stage, which is number 3. So that was 4. Unconscious competence was 4. Number 3 is conscious incompetence. That's after someone has told you, hey, you could do a little better with what it is that you're doing. You could do better. This is conscious incompetence. This is the phase where you're aware that you need improvement. You're aware that you need to grow. You need to succeed. Conscious incompetence. This is where a lot of people are. If you're reading this book or you're watching this presentation, you're likely in between these two. Unconscious competence and conscious incompetence. Where you're going to have the most success is number 2. Where you're going to have the most relevant success is number 2, which is conscious competence. You can stop right there and you can have amazing success. Conscious competence. And practice and role play and accountability will get you there. Unconscious competence is nearly mastery. Most people do not need mastery to be successful. In fact, you don't need mastery to be successful. It's not a necessity. It can help you. It can help you get to the next level, but you don't have to hit unconscious competence. That's mastery, expert level. So that's the thing I love about this overall niche. You don't even have to become an extreme expert to be successful. You're going to have success by just committing and doing some of the things that I'm going to tell you about a little bit later. So, unconscious competence, which can be called the brain power tab. Unconscious competence is consistent repetition. This is where you turn skills into reflexes. Things happen automatically. You're not even sure what's happening. I don't even know I said that. I was in the zone. That's mastery. Thinking is not required. Or very little thinking, very minimal thinking. And you get amazing results. This is the level of unconscious competence, but it's not a necessity. Ambitious people want to aim for unconscious competence, but it's not a necessity. I'm aiming for conscious incompetence, but I know that it's not necessary for me to be successful. I just tend to be an overachiever. You do not have to desire to be an overachiever. Now I want to talk about accountability. Accountability changes everything. Because the reason why you were at level 4 of unconscious incompetence is because you weren't getting feedback and accountability on what you were doing. You're out there trying prospecting. You were out there trying marketing. Nobody's giving you feedback. Accountability changes everything. Tough love is what people like to call it. I don't call it tough love. I call it just love. Love is not tough love. People like to say tough love, harsh truths, because they want to sugarcoat. People that love you and care about you, that care about your growth, they're going to tell you the truth. They care about your feelings, but they care about your progress more. There's no such thing as soft truth. The truth is just the truth. It's not soft. It's not hard. It's just what it is. So when people say harsh truth and tough love, I hate those phrases because they're not true. Real love is just being honest. It's just being honest. It's cutting to the chase as fast as possible so the person can grow as fast as possible. It's delivering that information as fast as possible so that person can be informed as fast as possible. That's what real truth and love is. It doesn't take any, you don't need to soften it up. You don't need to soften it up. You just tell the truth. Accountability. You want to get feedback on the things that you're doing, the calls you're making, the appointments you're going to. And you should get feedback and you should take it to heart. And what do I mean by that? I have a quote that I like to say, take it to heart, but don't take it personal. When someone's giving you feedback, don't take it personal. Even if it stings and it hurts your feelings, understand it's not personal. It just is what it is. Process your emotions, let it go through, and understand it's not personal. Don't take it as a personal attack. Take it as something that's going to help you improve. Don't take it as someone's talking about you, the person and the individual. Take it about them talking about your methods, the things you're doing, your behaviors, your habits. Feedback is not personal. It's meant for growth. You should take feedback to heart, but you shouldn't take it personal. When you're dealing with people that care about your growth in the direction that you're going to go, you should take their feedback to heart, but you should not take it personal. There's two types of feedback. There's validation feedback, which is feedback that makes you feel good. It doesn't change anything, though. It's not going to help you grow. This is the feedback that most people like to give. And this is the feedback that most people like to receive. But there's no growth that comes from that type of feedback. No growth. Then there's the growth feedback. And it may sting initially, right? It could be shocking to you because no one has ever told you the truth. No one has ever told you how to improve. You're shocked. But the cool thing about growth feedback is it creates real results. It creates results for you, your clients, your prospects, everybody involved. So you want to lean towards the growth feedback. Feedbacks are going to help you grow. You want to get away from validation feedback, feeling good. If you want to feel good, you make yourself feel good. That's the importance of affirmations. Go gather some affirmations so you can feel good on your own. When it comes to growing, you want to get growth feedback. Okay, so I want to take a little break and I want to talk about one of my favorite success stories based on the ECC method. So this is Drake. When I first met Drake, he was 18 years old. When we first met Drake, he was 18 years old. And as you can see here, he had 0 listings. He was brand new to the business and he tried another method. He tried an indirect sugarcoating method and he got indirect results because of it. Now that he tried the ECC method, the strategies, the things that we're talking about here, he had 5 closings in 1 month. This is all in less than 1 year. Less than 1 year. He had 6 listings the month before. And this is all because he decided to be more direct, to seek training, to tell the truth. No sugarcoating, no dancing. One of the most successful stories yet. So there's a quote that talks about, it's another quote that sounds great. It sounds amazing. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. Perfect. It's not true. I've heard another quote that talks about perfect practice make perfect. Now, I don't agree with the quote fully, but I do agree with the concept. You have to practice correctly in order to make progress. So you can practice all you want, but if you don't have feedback or you don't tell anybody that's telling you how to practice correctly, it's not going to make you perfect and it's not going to make you progress. Where I've learned this concept is we have within our group, we have something we call the gauntlet. And it's a role play and a training that goes into detail on how to practice correctly. How to practice correctly. We talk about how to handle difficult situations. We talk about how to handle difficult conversations, difficult scenarios. We help you develop unshakable confidence, clear confidence, simple confidence, belief in yourself, and we prepare you for anything. Whatever you're ready for, we get you prepared. We get you prepared. This is the importance of practice, role play. This is going to help with communication. Communication has changed my life. It has changed my life. Learning these outbound communication skills will change your life as well. So part 2, I want to talk about the ECC method in greater detail. The ECC method it's an effective way to communicate. It's an effective way to confidently communicate. And once you're able to communicate confidently, you're able to effectively communicate how to communicate. You develop confidence to close. And closing means asking for the business, closing the prospect, moving things forward. This is where most people struggle, even when they do get their communication skills down. And this is where coaching absolutely matters, because the ability to close requires confidence, it requires assumption, it requires directness, it requires being straightforward. You have to have the confidence to close. You learn the skills, but you must close. And I learned to close from my mentor, Tiffany Tucker. I had the confidence to communicate. And I was doing amazing with my communication, but I didn't have the ability to close. I didn't even know what it meant to close as a real estate professional. And what it means to close is to ask for the business, to ask for the next step, ask for what you want. Confidently, assertively, assumptively, and directly. ECC, what is ECC? We're a community. Elite, confident closers. Elite, confident communicators. And we're elite because most people are not willing to deliver this information. This group is elite because most people are going to tell you the complete opposite of what we're talking about here today. They're going to say you're crazy. They're going to say it doesn't work. They're going to say, do people really do that? We're an elite group. This club is elite because we're doing what everyone else is not willing to do. While everyone else is trying to manipulate and smooth and make you feel good, we're on another level. We are our family. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. We help you tap into a dedicated mindset. We're dedicated to each other's success. We're not just in this for business. We hold each other accountable. We're disciplined in our actions. So we have an active daily accountability, daily role play. Then we're determined. We're determined to never give up. This is why it's so important that you're involved consistently, daily. You're disciplined, right? This 3D method. You apply this across the board. We're dedicated to each other. We're disciplined and we're determined to help each other win. One of the things we do within the ECC community is We prioritize volume. And we prioritize volume of role play, volume of calls, volume of prospecting, volume of hours. You prioritize these things because it helps you develop skill. It helps you get to that level of conscious competence. At the bare minimum, you want to be at conscious competence. And then eventually, because of the volume of skill, because of the volume of hours, because of the volume of practice, you grow into unconscious competence. But again, you may not have to get into unconscious competence. So here's one thing I want you to understand. You are primarily, and I talked about this in great detail in my initial book, the first book that I wrote, Real Estate Marketing Implementation. Insider Secrets of Successful Advertising, Lead Generation, and Marketing Implementation. When you get into real estate, when you get into sales, your primary objective is marketing and lead generation. You must generate leads. And outbound calling is a way to generate leads. It's the most cost-effective way to generate leads. It's the fastest way to generate leads for your business. Because all you have to do is pick up the phone and start dialing. You honestly don't even need tools beyond your cell phone to get business today. You can call a for sale by owner or an expired listing today. And as long as you say the right things with the right tone, you say it the right way, and your delivery confidently, assumptively, assertively, you can gain an appointment and closing today. And that's why I love outbound calling. Outbound calling should be a key pillar of your business. I'm really great at marketing. I pay for paid ads. I do online marketing. I do SEO marketing. I do Facebook ads. I even do Google and YouTube marketing. I even do some direct mail. And I generate leads and business from each. But the outbound calling, it generates leads, it generates confidence, and it generates business for you. And it does it near immediately. It generates confidence, authority, assertiveness, presentation skills, speaking skills. These are all things that's going to make you an effective real estate professional. I was generating leads. I'm really great at generating leads, but I wasn't so great at communicating with these leads until I tapped into the outbound calling space, which really taught me the importance of communication. You as a real estate professional, your main priority, your number one objective is to generate leads and talk to these leads. That's how you be successful, and that's how you're going to gain the most business. Here's the thing. We're going to talk about scripts and processes. We're going to talk about things throughout. And naturally, some people are going to want to deviate. But you can't deviate. You must master the basics and the fundamentals before you deviate. Before you deviate, you earn your right to deviate by first mastering the fundamentals. You must master the fundamentals before you deviate. I learned this concept through my coaches. And when you go through a coaching program, you go through a curriculum, you go through something with someone, you're supposed to do exactly what they say, exactly how they say to do it, even if you don't fully understand it. Even if you don't fully understand it. And this is where we can tie in the unconscious competence. The reason why you do it is because likely the person that's teaching you, they have developed unconscious competence where they know what works. They're level 1 and you're level 2, 3, or 4. So if a person is from level 1 of unconscious competence telling you to do something, you should follow their direction. because they know they're unconscious in their competence, but they know it works. So I highly recommend that if you want to be successful, you do exactly what you're told, exactly how you're told. You do it. You achieve the results, and then you consider changing it later. But what you will find is later, you may not have to change it. You'll be so happy with the results, you may not have to change it. So I highly encourage you to master the basics first. Again, I want to be very clear about something here. What you're doing is not cold calling. People who are for sale by owner leads, they're actively selling their house. That is not cold. What's cold is someone that haven't even thought about selling their house. So for sale by owner leads, they're warm prospects and they're waiting to sell their house. Someone just needs to say the right thing to them. It's known, it's a common known stat within the real estate industry that most people that are for sale by owner, 90% of them end up listing with a real estate agent eventually. Eventually. You just have to be there to say the right things. You have to be there at the right time. You have to follow up consistently. You should be there when they're ready. Similarly, expired listings. They have raised their hand and they have said they were willing to sell their house. Something happened, it didn't sell, but they're still willing to sell their house. They need help immediately. They had a goal when their property came off the market 90 days ago. When they initially listed a property 90 days ago. When a property came off the market 180 days ago. When a property has been sitting for 365 days and they've been through 3, 4, 5 agents. They were looking to sell their house. It's not a cold lead. They were looking to sell it. So I really want you to start thinking about these as warm leads, outbound prospecting, and you have to say the right thing in order to get them to move forward. There's a common misconception in our industry that pre-qualifying is a necessity. And I don't disagree with the pre-qualification theory, but most people don't. Most people want to pre-qualify because they're looking to cancel the appointment themselves. They're afraid. They're afraid to go out to the appointment. They're afraid to ask the tough questions and have the conversation with the prospect. So in many cases, pre-qualification is selfish. And I always say pre-qualification should be considered later. It should be considered later. So when you think about pre-qualification, I want you to think, and you learn this through the ECC method, you don't have to do it immediately. You want to help out, you can pre-qualify on the phone at the initial time you set the appointment. You can pre-qualify later, right before the appointment, and you can even pre-qualify at the appointment. There are several ways to pre-qualify an appointment. In many cases, people are looking to protect their ego. And they cloak it as, I don't want to waste my time. Sometimes we're going to invest our time in things and helping people. And that's okay. That's okay. Because when you're investing, you make things back. This also causes you to lose deals. I remember one person came through. Her name was Michelle. And we could hear Michelle trying to pre-qualify. But truly, what was happening is she was fearful. She was fearful. She was letting fear take over her mind. And she wanted to cancel the appointment. And the prospect canceled the appointment with her live. So what I want you to do is I want you to engage first and qualify later. You start the conversation, you build rapport, and you set the appointment, and then I want you to qualify. Qualify after you set the appointment, after you build the rapport. Qualification is okay as long as you don't allow it to stand in the way. Confidence wins. The ACA method, the ACA plan. The ACA plan works like this. First impressions matter. So your professional image commands respect. I want you to be professional in the way you dress, the way you show up. We have a course on this that's available. If you reach out, Jerome at digitalrealestatestrategy.com. I'll send you this course for free. But appearance matters as a professional. How people view you. They say don't judge a book by its cover, and that may be true, but it's human nature for us to judge a book by its cover, and it absolutely matters. So that's another one of those corny sayings and corny quotes that sounds great. It sounds great in theory, but it's not true. We all judge books by the cover because appearance matters. Next is confidence. You want to project confidence through your voice and your presence, the things you do. People want to work with confident people, confident and competent people. You're afraid, you lack confidence, people are not going to necessarily want to work with you. And those that do decide to work with you without confidence, they tend to regret it. They regret it. Authority. People want to work with people who show authority. They demonstrate authority through clarity, expertise, confident communication. So ACA, confidence wins. That means it's important. Your appearance is important. Your confidence is important. You must have some confidence. You must speak with confidence. You must have authority. Demonstrate your expertise. Be clear in what it is that you do. Be authoritative in the way you show up, the way you move, the way you dress. Because this alone will win you business from some people. Your appearance, your confidence, your authority. Sometimes these things win you things that skills will not win you. Of course, you want them all. You want appearance, confidence, and skill. You want consistency as well. But showing up, they say showing up is half the battle, which is kind of corny and not fully true. But the concept matters. Show up confidently and authoritatively. So I want you to separate from the competitions. While others hesitate, while others ask questions and they want to know, does this work? Can it work? I want you to separate yourself from the competition. While everybody else is dancing around, they're being indirect, they're afraid to tell people the truth. While they hesitate, you will be different. And this is what will separate you. And people will be relieved and excited to work with you because you're different. You're not like everyone else. While everyone else decided to dance around, lie, deceive, you come through with clarity, confidence, truth, and professionalism, and you stand out way above everyone else. So the ECC difference, mindset shift. This is what we help people with. You saw Drake's story a little bit earlier. We help you go from broke, and not just in money, and your mindset, your skills. We help you build skills through daily practice, daily consistency, and we help you get real results. All right, you close more deals, you get more commission because of your confidence, the ECC method that we're talking about. Daily disciplines. This is what I want you to strongly consider. This is what contributes to the ECC method. A morning routine. You want to have a daily morning routine. Me, for example, right now, I have a morning routine of taking about 4,000 steps per day. I wake up early in the morning and I get an exercise routine. You can do the same thing. Once I do that, I get in the mindset to practice, right? So I go and I practice with my colleagues. We practice. on specific skills. We role play, right? We role play prospecting calls, presentations, etc. Then we go into our actual prospecting, like the real thing. Then we go do the live thing. We go make actual calls. We go make actual calls. And then number 4, we have check-ins and we have accountability. We report results. We get feedback on some of the results, some of the things that we're saying. And I'll go into more detail of this in the implementation section of the book. I'll lay out an exact structure that you should be pushing for so you can be successful with this stuff. Consistency compounds. More important than your skill is your consistency. If you show up consistently, you will get ahead of a lot of people. You will get ahead of even some of the most skilled people because consistency compounds, and it matters more than the skill. The skill still matters, but the consistency is what will push you through. That's why that 3D method, the 3D mentality is so important. The dedication, the discipline, and the determination. It's going to help you with your consistency. It's going to help you compound your results. It's going to help you compound your skills. It's going to help you compound your communication ability. And it's going to help you compound your confidence. So, many people make excuses. I don't like cold calling. We talked about that. It's not cold calling. It's outbound calling. It's prospecting. These people have raised their hand and said they want to sell. That's a reality. Another common excuse. People are rude. Some people are real. The reality is some people are rude and some people are not. Some people want to do business with you and some people don't. That's just the reality. Common excuse. It doesn't work anymore. It does still work. It works. As recently as September 21st, 2025. It works if you work, if you put in the work, if you make the time, you put in the time, the energy, the resources, and the effort, it will work. Guaranteed. Your competition is weak. They are avoiding the phone. They are avoiding communication. I belong to many role play groups, accountability groups. And you know what most people do? They sit on the sidelines and they watch and watch and watch and watch and watch. And they say, I need to process the information. I need to learn. I need to take time to go learn this. It doesn't take time. It takes action. Consistent action. And time, by default, is part of consistent action. So if you act consistently, consecutively, you will win. You will win. My favorite way to talk about and demonstrate this concept is called the cone of learning. So you can see here, this is the cone of learning. And on the very top, it's a lecture, people receiving information. This concept is not 100% true, but I want you to fully understand the concept. It's an amazing concept. If you're only listening to a lecture, you're only retaining 5 to 10% of the information that you're receiving, right? Learning, reading, hearing from a lecture, you retain 5% of that information, right? Things change, right? When you start to listen, right? You got some audio, some visual, you watch some videos, you start to retain 20% of it, correct? Audio, visual, right? You're watching a demonstration. This is why video is so important, not only for you, but also for your prospects. Video is so important because then you start to see how things work. Start to get a demonstration, right? This is why it's so important to have courses. Watch courses, you see things happening. Courses are a valid part of education and communication. But where things get really interesting is the further down you go in the pyramid. When you practice doing, you tend to maintain 75% of the information that you're receiving by doing. This is the power of implementation. This is the difference between you no longer watching a course, you're getting off the sideline You get into practice, you do. You role play, you practice, you get feedback. This is that important. This is the power of implementation. And again, you don't need to do all of this. You don't need to be involved in every step. Similar to the unconscious competence. You don't need to be there to have success. When it comes to learning this, you want to practice doing. This is why role play is so important. That's why role play is so important. And then teaching others. So when you teach others, you learn more. You retain more information. Because then you have to process it a little bit better. You have to process it from a place of empathy. You have to process it from a place of understanding so you can deliver the information to other people. You teach others and you retain more information. This is why we as real estate professionals, we become better by presenting this information to other people. We have to clarify. And in that clarification, we learn as well. We learn as well. Now, since your competition is weak, since they're afraid, since they're timid, that gives you an advantage. I'm just calling it like it is. Your phone skills will pay the bills. They say skills to pay the bills. I have a mentor, Jim. He says the skills to pay the bills. And in this instance, we're talking about phone skills, right? 80%, give or take, 80% of your success over the phone is going to come from confidence. I want you to focus on that confidence. And the way you develop that confidence is through practice, consistency, role play, accountability. You use the ECC method to get there. It's going to boost your income. You saw Drake, you saw his success. He went from 0 to 5 to 6 listings. He 10x his income. More than 10x his income. The way you do that is fairly simple. You do 10 to 15 hours per week. You can do 2 hours a day for 5 days straight. You could do 3 hours a day for 5 days straight. You could do 4 days. You could do 3 hours for 4 days. But just make sure you put in this time. All right. You want to break it up like a work day. You want to get practicing. You want to get some accountability in there. You want to get some role play. You want to actually prospect. And I'll break this down a little bit later when I get into the ECC method of implementation. Track your progress. Track your progress. Week 1. Watch your appointments, your conversations. And as long as you're consistent, you'll see this continue to rise. You'll see your success rise. You see your conversion ability rise. This is how you build a pipeline. This is how you build a pipeline and get prospects. And this is the way to build. And eventually, you'll have a choice on who it is that you want to work with or not. To build your pipeline, what you do is you generate leads. You call expired and for sale by owners. You set appointments. You convert conversations into face-to-face meetings. You go out to a presentation. You do a listing presentation, or if you're a real estate investor, you go out to buy. You show them how you can help them. Right? You win the contract, and then you close the deal. You close the deal. And a bonus that you do is you ask who else you can help. You ask them, who else can I help? Who else do you know? You get a referral. You get feedback from the sellers. Ask them for their testimonial. So you can use that to gain more business. This way, you're not doing this all of the time. This is how you build your pipeline. This is how you convert strangers into clients. There's a process. And I'm not going to go into detail on this process in this particular presentation because I've talked about it in the real estate marketing implementation book. In the chapter, the fast action client attraction method, we talk about a follow-up system that you can implement in your business so you can have consistent business, consistent lead generation, and have people working with you and sending you referrals. Master the basics, perfect the fundamentals before you try moving into advanced strategies. Get the fundamentals down. And if you need help with that, you can reach out to us. We'll help you get to the next level. We have training, we have role play, we have coaching. Just reach out. Jerome at digitalrealestatestrategy.com. So here are your next steps to get to the next level. Reach out, join our community. Number 2, commit to daily action, not once in a while, not here and there, daily action. Treat it like a job. You've likely had a job before where you would go in, you would show up every single day, whether it's part-time or full-time, 4 hours, 3 hours, 8 hours. You've had a job. Treat this like a job as well. And mentality. Work for yourself. Number 3, track your results. Measure what matters most. Make sure you're documenting. You're documenting appointments. You're documenting conversations, phone calls. And number 4, stay accountable. Have progress. Have someone hold you accountable. Whether you hire an individual coach, you have an accountability partner, you have an accountability community. Be accountable. So your time to succeed in this industry is now. And what you need to do directly, I confidently and authoritatively tell you to stop waiting. Perfect timing does not exist. There's no such thing as perfect timing. You have to start now. And you have to start before you're ready. You will never be ready. But you have to start now. Success rewards action. The most action-oriented people are the people who win. Not the smartest, not the brightest. It's the people who move, the people who take action. That's the key here. The smartest people take action. They move forward regardless. They move forward when they're prepared. They move forward when they're not prepared, but they take action. And you can do the same, and you should do the same if you want to be successful. So, you have 2 options. You can do nothing. You can keep making excuses. You can keep talking to yourself in your head that you'll get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. You can avoid the phone. You can avoid having those uncomfortable conversations. You can avoid all of that. You can avoid that and you will struggle. You will continue to struggle. You will continue to stay at a job that you don't appreciate. You will continue to see people get business. You will continue to see family and friends do business with people that you don't know. They do business with strangers. How come they picked that other agent? It was a stranger. Someone else referred that other agent, that other person. That's your first option. Or your second option is to get rich by mastering communication, embracing the concept of outbound calling, embracing the concept of prospecting, embracing the concept of investing in yourself, embracing the concept of building wealth, embracing the concept that discomfort is not danger, embracing the concept that there's work involved, but it's simple work that anybody can do as long as they put in the effort, the action, and back it up with implementation. So here's what I recommend you do. Now that you've finished, I recommend you reach out. My email address is Jerome at digitalrealestatestrategy.com. Reach out, send an email, subject, and ask how you can get involved. You want to get involved? Just reach out. Subject line, involved. I want to be involved. And we'll tell you about the different ways that you can be involved and get to the next level in your business. So again, I recap. make sure, even if you decide not to work with us, even if you decide not to go with us, even if you don't believe in the concepts that I talked about here today and all of the proof that we've shown you, you go take action. You go do something. Don't make this the last video, the last presentation, the last book you read, and then you go do the same thing of doing nothing. It's not going to serve you. So to recap, your success, it starts now. Confidence is going to win deals. The volume is going to build your skill. Consistency, value, and action beats fear. Action beats fear. The people who take action will win. The people who are fearful in their brains, in their minds, and sit on the sidelines, they will continue to lose. But eventually, hopefully they experience enough pain where they'll get off the sideline and start taking action. So, my name is Jerome Lewis. I appreciate you watching today. I appreciate you listening today. Go out and take action.